Hello and welcome to the Fans of Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Boley Price. Today we're going to be talking about Aew Dynamite. We're going to start off with the first match, and that was Kenny Omega versus Trent. Well, for me, this was a pretty good match. You know, it went back and forth. There was a lot of good moves going for both competitors. But, you know, it was inevitable that we were going to see a great match with Kenny Omega. Now Trent being put to the test, I just think that this was a really good match to start the show. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The next match we had was Shita versus Anna Jay. Now, this was actually a pretty decent match, definitely considering that the women's division needs a lot of seasoning. I thought it was a pretty well-fought match for both competitors. We see Shita coming out with the win, but I got to say, this was actually a pretty good match for the women's division, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. After this match, we saw a little video package with Jon Moxley and Jake Hager, because their match is coming up in 2 weeks. No holds bar match for the AEW World Championship. So I'm really stoked for that. I can't wait. And the next match of the night was the Murder Hawk Monster debut of Lance Archer versus Marco Stunt. Now this match here, I was pretty surprised that they would put out Marco Stunt, but then when I saw the match, I was like, all right, I get why. You know, they need to put Archer on a high grade here and just basically put him over to the moon. I didn't have a problem with Marco Stunt. I thought he was all right. I'm not a big fan of him taking on big competitors, but it was fun to see him get pulverized by Lance Archer. So that was definitely one cool thing about the match. For me, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It really, you know, it's those debut matches. They're really quick. But it really was a good showing, and it was cool to see him throw Marco Stunt into the crowd of only like 2 or 3 people, Orange Cassidy and the Gun Club. All right, the next match after that was the tag team division with the debut of the Natural Nightmare versus number 8 and number 9. I thought that was kind of funny that they just used the nameless wrestlers. If you don't listen to the Pro Wrestling Addiction podcast hosted by RJB, well, you're stupid because you should. He talks really good about AEW. He breaks it down the way it should be broken down, and you can catch the show that we did today where I was fortunate enough to be a caller on his show, and we were able to shoot the shit on what we thought about AEW's episode and the upcoming TNT Championship. So if you didn't check that out, go check it out. The link will be coming up and above. It was a really cool episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. This match was a pretty good match, and the only thing I really didn't like was the gimmickiness of the Dark Order. They were very much like the Foot Soldiers from the Ninja Turtles. So we saw the Natural Nightmares get the win over the Dark Order, and then we see Brody Lee come out and basically pulverize one of his guys, and the other guy was so scared he just backed up and got the hell out of there. For me, I'm going to give that match a 4 out of 5. I thought it was pretty good. Other than, you know, the wrestling, I'm giving the credit for the excitement that I had for the beginning of the match setting up, and also at the end when Brody Lee came out. I think that was pretty cool too. So that's everything combined. And that leaves us with the main event, which is Kobe and Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. This was a really good match. This was, like I said, it's the main event. They put on a good show. It went back and forth. There was many times during the match where we saw Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara. They were actually betting on who could hold the suplex up longer. So Shawn Spears started with 10, and then Sammy did 15, and then Shawn Spears went to go, he threw his money in and was going to go do the 20 count, but then Darby Allin was able to counter it and get out of that, and then the match moved forward. But I really liked that, enjoy it. That comedy aspect of them betting was really cool. The match went on to be probably the best match of the night for me because it had the most talented wrestlers in the ring that they had on that show. So for me, the main event was really great. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Not a crazy, amazing show. It definitely was a lackluster for me. But listen, in the times that we're dealing with, I understand. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, from the point of view of just watching the show. But, again, it was a pretty good show. We also did get to see a great promo from Chris Jericho, Le Champion, sitting in his jacuzzi and basically just talking crap about the Elite, saying that they're just a bunch of retards. And we see Vanguard 1 approaching and basically pulls right up on Jericho. And Jericho sees it, gets out of the jacuzzi wearing his leather pants. Who wears leather pants in the jacuzzi? I don't know, but I guess Chris Jericho can. He heads to Vanguard 1. He tries to recruit Vanguard won again. He even offers us a little tiny baby t-shirt that he hooks on to the droid. And I thought it was really funny. And then it takes off and he starts yelling at it. And he goes, release the hounds. And he sends out all his little doggies and his other dog. It was just funny. Good comedy. Good way to entertain the people in these hard times. One of the things I liked that he said in the promo that he's always said in the past is that as soon as this virus thing is over and when he's ready to let the AEW fans back in the arenas, I thought that was funny. Definitely cool how he always brings that up, and it gives that vibe that he basically owns it and nothing runs out of the inner circle. All right, so now we're going to break down the show. I'm going to give the ref ratings a 5 out of 5. Everybody did an outstanding job, especially them traveling just to get there and do this. I commend them. Match card rating, I really didn't see an issue with it. You know, it was actually pretty good. They started off with the women's match after the first match, and then they had a couple promos, and then the tag, and then single. It was pretty good, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. For the production value, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The commentary wasn't there for me. There was moments where it was good, and there was moments where it wasn't. And it itself, too, sometimes there were moments that did lack a little visual for me. But other than that, it was a really good show. 4 out of 5 for that. And for the overall show rating, I'm going to give the show a 3 out of 5. It really wasn't that great of a show. I mostly give a 4 out of 5 out of their pretty good shows, and their amazing shows 5 out of 5. So, to me, honestly, yeah, 3 out of 5 I could say I give this show. Good performance on everybody, though. I commend them from going out there and doing that job to entertain us. I appreciate that. And I hope you guys like this review, because like I always say, if you don't, I really don't care. Because at the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a fan.